Hello and a very warm welcome to Pathashala Bulletin. I'm Anil Kumar, and in this podcast we are going to see some important current affairs of the day. Oxfam reports highlights sharp inequalities in health indicators. Sharp inequalities exist across different caste, religious, class and gender categories on various health indicators, according to a report by Oxfam India. The report titled India Inequality Report 2021. The general category is better off than scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Hindus are better off than Muslims. The rich are better off than poor. Men are better off than women. And the urban population is better off than the rural population on most health determinants, interventions, and indicators. The report shows that while women's literacy has improved across social groups over the years, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women lag behind the general category by 18.6% and 27.9% respectively. As far as sanitation is concerned, 65.7% households have access to improved non-shade sanitation facilities in general category, while scheduled caste households are 28.5% behind them and scheduled tribes are 39.8% behind them. Several Delhi-based diplomats and staff of international NGOs on Pegasus list. Recently, it has been reported that Pegasus, the malicious software, has allegedly been used to secretly monitor and spy on an extensive host of public figures in India. It is a type of malicious software or malware classified as spyware. It is designed to gain access to devices without the knowledge of users and gather personal information and relay it back to whoever it is that is using the software to spy. Pegasus has been developed by the Israeli firm NSO Group that was set up in 2010. Human rights activists, journalists, and lawyers around the world have been targeted with phone malware sold to authoritarian governments by an Israeli surveillance firm. Indian ministers, government officials, and opposition leaders also figure in the list of people whose phones may have been compromised by the spyware. In 2019, WhatsApp filed a lawsuit in the US court against Israel's NSO Group, alleging that the firm was incorporating cyber attacks on the application by infecting mobile devices with malicious software. Special scheme for interlinking of rivers. The National Perspective Plan (NPP) was prepared by the then Ministry of Irrigation, now Ministry of Jal Shakti, in August 1980 for water resources development through inter-basin transfer of water for transferring water from water surplus basins to water deficit basins. Under the National Perspective Plan, the National Water Development Agency has identified 30 links, 16 under Peninsular Component and 14 under Himalayan Component for preparation of feasible reports. The key benefits of this interlinking of rivers are hydropower generation, irrigation benefits, round-the-year navigation, employment generation, resolution of problem of droughts and floods, and ecological benefits as dry-up forests and lands will be replenished. Financial Action Task Force review of India put off again. An evaluation by global organization Financial Action Task Force FATF to analyze the effectiveness of India's anti-money laundering and countering terrorist financing regime has been postponed for the second time in view of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and is now slated to be initiated next year. The Financial Action Task Force is a global money laundering and terrorist financing watchdog that sets international standards to prevent economic and financial crimes in a country with interconnected linkages across the world. It conducts peer reviews of each member on an ongoing basis to assess levels of implementation of the Financial Action Task Force recommendations and provides an in-depth description and analysis of each country's system for preventing criminal abuse of the financial systems. The last such review of India's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing regime was held in June 2010, and it is usually taken up again after a period of 10 years. In 2019, India had set up a joint working group comprising 22 central investigation, intelligence gathering, and regulatory agencies to make presentations, hold discussions, and brief the FATF experts drawn from various countries once the process starts. Climate change has added over 1,000 lakes in Swiss Alps, says study. Climate change has dramatically altered the Swiss Alp landscape at a quicker pace than expected, as melting glaciers have created more than 1,000 new lakes across the mountains. The inventory of Swiss glacial lakes showed that almost 1,200 new lakes have formed in formerly glaciated regions of Swiss Alps since the end of Little Ices around 1850. Glaciers in Swiss Alps are in steady decline, losing a full 2% of their volume last year alone, according to an annual study by the Swiss Academics of Science. Even if the world were to fully implement the 2015 Paris Agreement, two-thirds of the alpine glaciers will likely be lost, according to a 2019 study by the ETH Technical University. With this, it's a wrap of the podcast for the day. Bye for now.